Hello and welcome back to the League One Talk podcast. I'm your host, Callum, joined by Mitchell, the Sheffield fan, and also Daniel, who's a Derby fan. Thank you so much for joining this evening, guys.
Not a problem at all.
Great. So what we're going to do tonight, guys, we're going to do an early prediction for the League One table. We're going to go from bottom to top, and then our playoff winners as well, and who we're going to think is going to win against the playoffs. So we've got a lot to get in through. So now I'm going to start with you. Who's your bottom team this year?
Me is Cheltenham.
And what's your reason behind it?
I just think that last season was a lucky season for them. I think with a transfer window and a lot of teams coming down from a championship that potentially have money, and it's a lot of ex-Premier League teams in there. I just think Cheltenham are just going to be rock bottom and not get any higher, to be fair.
Mitchell, what's your bottom pick?
For me, I've gone with a newly promoted team, Bristol Rovers. Obviously, got that final automatic promotion spot on the final day in dramatic circumstance. But I just don't think at the moment. Obviously, no transfers have been made yet. But currently now, I don't think they've got quality enough squad to stay up in the League One. So Bristol Rovers to finish bottom for me.
No, that's fair enough. I can see where you go. I've gone for also a newly promoted team. I've gone for the team that's won the playoffs in Port Vale. I think they're a good team, but I just don't see them bringing the players in that can hold off in League One. It's going to be a tough year for them, and I can't really see them anything but them relegation fight, unfortunately. So I've gone for them on the 24th spot. Moving into 23rd, who have you guys gone for?
I've gone for Bristol Rovers. I just think same reason as Mitchell, really. Yes, you got out of League Two. You're not gonna cut it. I think they're going to be the Fulham of League One and League Two, just up and down. To be fair.
Mitch, what about you, mate?
I've gone for another reporter side. I've gone for the team that obviously finished fifth in League Two last season, won the playoffs against Mansfield. I've gone for Port Vale. Again, don't think they've got a quality. I don't think currently now, obviously transfer could still be made, and transfer will be made from now till the start of the season, even throughout August at the start of the season. But again, I just don't think that they're cut out for League One. I reckon they'll go straight back down to League Two.
Yeah, I've gone for a team that survived last year in Walkham. They kind of really were yo-yoing near the bottom for a while, and they survived, I think, purely because of Cole Stockton. He could be out on the club going in the summer. There's been rumours going to different teams, but I think overall, if they lose him, I can see them definitely being down there, and I can see them being down there with him there as well. They just seem to concede too many goals, in my opinion. Not really. They done well last year to stay up and really survive the teams going out of League Two 2 years ago. So I can't really see them staying up this year. It's going to be a real kind of battle, I think, down that bottom this year more than most years, in my personal opinion. But who have you guys gone for in your 22nd spot?
I've gone for Burton Albion just because they always hover up. I see them as the Sunderland of a Premier League team before they got relegated and then relegated again. They're just that kind of team that hold up the league. I just think this season, it's just going to be a little bit too much for them.
Mitch, what about you?
I've gone for a team that was hovering over that relegation zones. In the relegation zones, I think right up until the final few games where they managed to escape. I've gone for Shrewsbury Town. I reckon they got lucky last season with results going their way towards the end, but I just don't think they'll do it this time. If they play how they played last season, they'll be even looking not to finish lower than 22nd.
Yeah, I've gone for a bit of a surprising one here. I've gone for the team that won League Two, and that's Forest Green Rovers. They had a good year. They won the league quite comfortably in the end with them and Exeter. But I just think overall, the team doesn't feel like a League One status team. Okay, you can look at a lot of teams in League One and say they're not doing that well, but I think overall they just haven't got the players or the squad depth to survive in League One. I just can't really see it working for them. But that being said, they could do really well. That's my kind of a bit of a gamble one in that position there. But the 21st spot, who have you guys gone for?
I went for Forest Green Rovers. Very similar to reasons to you. They got out of League Two. Are they cut out for League One? No. I think it was just a really good season for them. But I just don't think they've got what it takes at the moment to be League One.
Mitch, your 21st spot, please, mate.
Again, another team hovering over that relegation zone the entire season, pretty much the entire season. A team has now got a new manager in Scott Brown. I've gone for Fleetwood Town. I reckon this season, although they've got Scott Brown as a manager, I reckon the team's just not good enough again. Again, for the fourth team, just not good enough. I reckon this season they'll just fall short, maybe by goal difference, maybe by a few points. But I reckon Fleetwood's time in League One will come to an end and they'll go back down to League Two.
I've gone for another new promoted team. This completes my three, trio. I've gone for Exeter Town. A team that's been in the playoffs in League Two a lot and, have been in playoff finals and lost them. They finally got up this year. I just don't think kind of thing with Forest Green. I just don't see them having the squad depth, the capability to stay up. And they might do, but I just can't really see it happening this year. If they stay up this year, you can progress in the year on, but I think it's going to be a really tough year for Exeter Town. I want to see them stay up because I quite like them as a club, but I think overall, it just doesn't seem like it's going to work for them overall. But we're going to move into the 20 spots. So the team that's not going to get relegated, but who's just going to miss out, who's just going to stay in League One for another year. Who have you guys got?
I've gone for Exeter on that one, just because I think, yes, in League Two, I just think they're slightly better than the other teams I've mentioned. And I've got family in Exeter as well. So I'm as a kind of, not a team I support, but a team I follow because of family. I hope they just avoid it. So that's my team for 20th.
Mitch?
My team in 20th place is a team coming up from League Two as well. League Two champions, in fact, in Forest Green Rovers. I just reckon they've got more quality in their team. Obviously, other than Port Vale and Bristol Rovers, hence why they finished top of League Two. But I just reckon the style of play that they were playing last season to get champions, I reckon if they could play a bit better than that, they'll be safe. They'll be safe.
Yeah, I've gone for a team that's been kind of dangling near the relegation for a while in Shrewsbury Town. I can see them staying up again. I think they've got the League One experience and can pull a good few wins out as well and can really surprise some teams on its day. So, simple fact, I think, because they've got the experience in League One, I've gone for Shrewsbury Town in 20th. But going into the team 19th, who have you guys gone for?
I've gone for Lincoln. Just like experience. And I think a couple of good teams have come down from the Championship. So, yes, they had a good season last season, but I think the teams that got relegated are going to push Lincoln down a little bit further.
Mitch, who have you gone for, mate?
This is going to be another thing where I say they was battling to stay in League One for the majority of last season. There was in the relegation zones at some points. Managed to get out of it though. I've gone with a team that actually finished 19th last season in Morecambe. Obviously, I predicted them last season to finish 19th, and they did. I'm gonna stick with my prediction from last season and say they'll finish 19th. I just reckon if they can somehow keep hold of Cole Stockton, even though he's more likely gonna leave because there's Championship teams coming in for him, interested in him and that. But if they can keep hold of Cole Stockton, I reckon he's gonna have a pretty good season like he did already.
Yeah, I've gone for the last promoted team is Bristol. I just think they've had the experience of League One recently. I can see them, bouncing back. They've done well to bounce up on the last day last year, and they're going to go again this year a bit more stronger. And I can see them staying this year. Only time will tell how well they get on, but I can just see them having just got more experience in League One overall, and I think that's definitely going to play a part because you need that going into the season. So they're my 19th. We're going into 18th. What we got?
I had Accrington Stanley. Just based on experience and, I just think they've got the experience and the quality to just avoid it. But I think 18th is going to be one of them where it's going to be a tough one. I think they'll just avoid it, but I do think it's going to be a struggle for them.
Mitch, 18th.
I've gone for the final of the 4 newly promoted teams from League Two, in Exeter City. Partly because last season they had one of our goalkeepers on loan. They're also linked with him on a permanent deal this season. Cameron Dawson. I just reckon Exeter's got the I know they finished second and below, obviously, Forest Green, I believe, after the final game of League Two season. But I just reckon with some decent players, they've got a better team than all 3 of the other newly promoted teams. And that is why I have put Exeter in my 18th spot.
That's fair enough. I've gone for a team that started the season really well last year in Burton Albion. They didn't do too badly last year. I think with a good manager in Hasselbank, I think they've got potential to go higher. But I think 18th is they finished round near the bottom half last year, and I think Burton fans would be quite happy with another year in League One. So I think overall they're a team that could finish, I think, any between 16th and 19th or where in between there. So it's a real kind of mixture in this section of the table for me. But 17th, who have we gone for?
I've gone for MK Dons.
That's a bit controversial.
I saw you. I watched them in the playoffs, and I don't think they were that good. I think it was just one of them seasons that they just had a really good season. Watching how they played, I can see him being no higher than that. And this is why it took so long to try and figure out where to put him. But yeah, I honestly can't see him getting too high in the league this season. I really can't.
Mitch, who have you gone for?
For my 17th place, again, they finished 17th last season. I'm gonna say there's going to be no massive improvements in the team. I'm going to say Lincoln City in 17th, purely for the fact they're a standard League One team. They had that massive run where they got to the playoffs, but came up short, I believe, in the final. I can't remember if it was Charlton, though. They had that run and they've just not had that run since. But then again, I think they're too good to get relegated. Obviously, they could have that one bad season and they could end up in that bottom 4. But in my opinion, I just think they're going to just finish bang same as last season, 17th.
That's fair. I'm going for Cheltenham, who done quite well last year and finished around mid-table-ish for them. And I think they've got, you could have second season syndrome where you don't do as well. You could do really good, but I think it's just been another average season for them. Nothing really that exciting, but I can just see them having a steady season and just staying up. Really, it's not going to be that exciting, I think, for Cheltenham fans this year. But there's a potential of a good team in the making there. But I think overall, mid-table is where they just want to carry on being for now and see if they can progress in a few years. But 16th, who we guys have got for?
I've gone for Morecambe. And you guys have already mentioned him, Carl Stockton. I think if he stays with Morecambe, when he's on fire, he's on fire. He's an unreal player. He's one of my favourite players outside of the Championship. And I think he's going to be able to bag enough goals to get him 16th, between 14th and 16th, to be fair.
Mitch, who have you gone for?
I've gone for, obviously, they've got promoted last season. I've gone for Cheltenham Town. Finished 15th last season. I'm having them to finish 16th. Again, they could go down. Second season syndrome. It's happened to loads of teams in the past. It's happened to some Prem teams, Championship teams, even League One teams in the past before. But I reckon if they can keep Alfie May, I know obviously Chef Wednesday is sniffing about for him, as I was reading earlier and last night. So if they can keep hold of Alfie May, he'll bang in loads of goals, which could, and in my opinion, will help them secure League One football again, and will secure that 16th spot.
That's fair. I've gone for a team that almost got relegated last year in Fleetwood Town. I think with the new manager coming in, I think they can definitely step. They've never been relegated from League One downwards. So it's quite a big thing they want to keep going. So I think overall they're going to do a better season than they did last year. I think with the new manager and some new players and hopefully a new start for them, it will be a better season for them. So 16th, I think, is a reasonable position and definitely improvement from the season just gone. But moving into 15th, what we got?
I've had Port Vale, and that's just because, to be honest with you, I just had to put them somewhere. I don't know much about Port Vale, but like I say, it's just a tough one. It's a really, really tough league to try and predict. And to be fair to Port Vale, I think they're going to be one of them sides to watch. Obviously, I don't think they're going to get in the top 10, but I think they're going to be a mid-table team and work from there towards promotion.
And Mitch, who have you gone for?
Talking about a team to watch, and another team to watch is obviously Cambridge United next season, who I've got in 15th. Obviously, they finished 14th last season. I've gone them to finish one step lower. I believe they've still got Ironside, and I don't know who the best players are of obviously Cambridge. The only time I can actually remember it and keep it in my head is obviously when they lost 6-0 at high round. Sorry to bring it up again. But I just think obviously they're going to be like Cheltenham, secure that. They're going to comfortably secure that League One status. I'd say with at least 2 months remaining of fixtures, probably even more. But Cambridge just has a decent team, quality players in that team as well, where some of them they'll be lucky to keep hold of. Cambridge is my number 15.
I've gone for a team that's, we've already mentioned a few times, Lincoln City. I think, a mid-table team, and they could be higher. They proved that 2 years ago and how well they done. But I think overall, it's going to be another season in League One for them. It's a bit like, Fleet, like Cheltenham, and it's going to have a mediocre season. Not really nothing to stand out for, but they've got the surprise package. They can be better and be higher. So I think overall, there is potential there for them, but I can't really see anything higher than a mid-table finish for them this year. Number 14, who we got for?
I've gone for Fleetwood. They're a good team. They're too good to get relegated, but they're not good enough to be in the top 10 this season. Like you've said, they're going to easily secure League One status. But yeah, that's my 14th one.
Mitch, your 14th position, please, mate.
Again, this is probably my 4th, maybe 5th, 6th team who I've had to drop down positions from last season. They finished 12th last season. I've gone for Accrington Stanley, who are they exactly like. But I just think, I don't know, to be fair. I just don't think they're going to be as good as they was last season. Obviously, they're always, I believe they were, obviously, before we got relegated from Championship, I hardly watch League One football apart from the Accrington Sunderland game. But I just can't see them finishing that top 10. Can't see them finishing higher than 14th, in my opinion, to be fair. So yeah.
I've gone for my own team, Cambridge United. I think, we lost Wes Hoolahan at the end of the season because it was thought he's going to coaching full time, and with Idell as well going to Bolton, and Mitov reportedly going to Newcastle. That's the rumours that we're hearing around the club at the moment. I think we need to improve. I think, we've got all the players back on contracts now and the youth team's going well. But I think overall, because we haven't made any major signings or, no big signings in really, it's going to look interesting for next season how we line up and who's going to really create a lot. I think if you take Wes Hoolahan out of any team, I think it's a tough position to fill, and it's going to be interesting for us. I think we are going to basically stay where we are. I can't see us improving next year as it stands, but I think we're comfortable in League One. I think we showed that last year with some really good wins. Okay, we had some bad losses, but I think overall we had a good season, and we surprised a lot of teams last year, and a lot of fans expected us to finish bottom. So I think overall 14th position is a very respectable position for us. So 13th, who have we gone for?
I've gone for Peterborough.
Happy days.
Just because obviously we had them last season, and you know what, I don't think we're going to have them again this season. I just think they're going to. I don't think this season they're going to get promoted. I think it's going to be one of them where it's kind of like we've been relegated. Let's get our shit together. Let's try and stay in League One now. Next season, well, not next season, the season after, sorry. Let's go all out and go for promotion.
Mitch, who have you gone for, mate?
For me, again, another team who I'm having not budging from the spot. I'm going for Charlotte. Finished 13th last season. I'm having them finish 13th. They have got some decent players in that team. I can remember, obviously, when they got to the playoffs, beat Sunderland in that playoff final to reach the championship. I reckon maybe in another year, 2 or 3 years, I reckon they'll be back up in the championship. But currently right now, I don't think they've got what it takes to be a championship club. Yeah, I feel sorry for them. Ideally, they shouldn't have been relegated. They got done because of teams have not getting point deductions when they should have, which automatically got Charlton relegated. So, in my opinion, they should be back up in the championship. They should never be in League One. Then again, we could say that about some teams like Sheffield Wednesday, Derby County, Portsmouth. Them clubs are big clubs for League One, but they're here for a reason. Obviously, Sheffield Wednesday and Derby, point deduction led to them getting relegated. Yeah, it's a hard deficit to get out of, getting a point deduction, but they're in League One for a reason, breaking the rules for one, and just not doing good enough to overcome the point deduction to stay in the championship. That's me and Charlton right now. I reckon they should not be in League One, but they're in League One for a reason, because they didn't get enough points to stay in the championship despite teams not having point deductions and that. So for me, Charlton to be 13th.
I've gone for Accrington. I think they've had a really, some solid seasons, and I think overall mid-table is going to be an average performance again. I can't really see them challenging the top, but I can't really see them worrying about the bottom either. It's going to be a very average season. I think, you look at the mid-table teams, it's going to be an average time, but I think overall they would be happy with, a mid-table finish and an overall sort of another season in League One, which you can't complain about. So 12th, who have we gone for?
I've gone for Charlton. Just because, they are a good team, ex-Premier League Championship. I just I just think they just seem to hover just around mid-table to playoffs. And I honestly just think it's going to be the same again this season. Big, big Premier League club back in the day. Now it's football's just getting tougher and tougher every year for for the Charltons and Portsmouth and things. So I honestly think it's going to be a really tough season. But I put them there because I was torn between them and another team. Let's just say that. But I just think the other team's slightly better.
And Mitchell, who you got from right in the middle of the table?
Right, for me, they started this last season really well, but fell apart. Ended up finishing bottom half of the table. In fact, ended up finishing 16th last season. You've already mentioned them already as well. I've got for bang in the middle of the table, Burton Albion. I just reckon they'll learn from the mistakes what happened last season. They'll look back at the mistakes what they made, and they'll be like, right, this is where we need to improve. And I reckon they'll get the improvements in that team to finish them slightly higher, not too far high. It's not like obviously 4 spots, but to finish comfortably mid-table and secure yet another season in League One.
That's fair enough. I've gone for Portsmouth. A team that's not really, for a big team, it hasn't really challenged the playoffs for a while, in my opinion. Bit more of a sleeping giant in League One at the moment, in my opinion. I don't think this year is going to be that time for them to go up. I think they're going to have another team this season where they could challenge the playoffs. I think it's going to be really close between, playoff and mid-table. I think, again, like it always is. But I just think they haven't really got any key players that can get them up, into the playoff positions again. So I think mid-table for them, but a season they can definitely keep progressing and keep moving on forwards for a few years' time. So it'll be interesting to see. But who we gone for the first, into 11th?
I've gone for Ipswich. Ipswich, good team. Like you mentioned, sleeping giants, not as big as some of the teams in League One. Obviously, ex-championship. I just think they're one of them teams that quite easily win the league, but they're also one of them teams that are beatable on the day. And I think this season's going to be one of them seasons where 11th is a respectable position. I just don't think they're quite going to make the top 10 this season.
So, Mitch, who are you going for in your 11th position?
I've gone for a team that finished just outside the playoffs in Oxford United. I reckon they have got some decent players. They've got former Wednesday man himself in Sam Winnell. Not sure, obviously, if they've released him or yeah, because I haven't seen their release list. But if they still got him, I reckon he could bang in a few goals. If they can somehow have Brannigan for next season, I reckon he'll get them a few goals as well. They could even push for the playoffs next season. But for me, in my opinion, they are going to fall short on the playoffs, but not just playoffs, but on the top 10. And for me, they're just about making it into that top half of the table in the 11th.
I've gone for Bolton Wanderers. They're a good team. I think, they've done well last year going into the playoffs, but I think overall that they need to, keep on improving. They've only just come back up from League Two themselves, so they need to keep pushing forward and bringing some players in. I think they've got the fan base in the stadium to do so, but then that shows, not everything. You need the team on the pitch to do the business instead of the fans in the stadium and everything. But it's nice to see, them going out of money trouble and coming into times where they can move forward. But I think overall it's going to take a few years to get out of League One. I think this is going to be another season where they're going to, threaten the playoffs definitely, but I don't think overall it's going to be anything special this year for them. But who have we gone for in 10th position?
Man, this is going to cause a lot of controversy. Let's just say that. I've gone for my team, Derby, just because of the crap we've been through for the last year. Since September, we've been put into administration. Mitch mentioned it earlier, 21 points deduction. We've lost a lot of players. I think we've only got 5 players left on contract. Tom Lawrence potentially gone as well. Hopefully, we're getting a deal done on Tuesday with Chris Kirchner, but it's a big rebuilding now. Wayne Rooney thinks we need at least 40 players and staff combined. If we can get them 40 players and we can get decent players, because in our own right, we are a big team. We've got the fan base, we've got the stadium. We will challenge season after next, but this season, I just think we're going to fall short just because of getting the players in, and we've still got to get the transfer embargo lifted as well. So yeah, I think 10th for us.
It's an unusual pick, but I can understand your reason behind everything. Mitchell, who have you gone for in your 10th position?
For me, again, another team who finished a bit higher. They finished one spot higher. They finished 9th last season. I've gone for Bolton Wanderers. Obviously, sleeping giant in League One. Obviously, not much as obviously the likes of Portsmouth. But again, like you mentioned, going into administration, almost being another Bury as well, getting liquidated. They ended up getting relegated from the Championship down to League Two, and then ended up coming back up to League One. Fair play to them. They finished quite high, I'd say, as well in their first season back in League One. Again, last season, quite high. This season, I reckon they'll just go one short to last season. In 10th, it depends what they really bring in, to be fair. If they don't bring in much quality in that team, obviously they've got Elias Kachunga. For me, when he was at Wednesday, I didn't rate him at all. But if Bolton can get, and Ian Everett can get the best out of Kachunga, they've got a good player on his hands on the hand there. But yeah, Bolton to finish 10th.
That's fair. I've gone for a team that you guys have already mentioned, and a bit of a kind of in Charlton. I think they had a really not the best season last year, and a kind of a bit surprising they were down near that position. I suppose it surprised me as well, but I think they're going to bounce back this year. I think they've got the team and squad to do it, but I don't think they're going to push the playoffs either. I think they're a team that's going to be a mid-table team for a while, but I think can cause a lot of upsets and definitely push towards the playoffs. I just don't think they've got that quality to get to the playoffs as yet. But I think it's a step in the right direction for them going into this season. So I've got hopes for them. So 9th position, who have we gone for?
I've gone for Plymouth. I just think it's going to be their season. I don't think they're quite good enough for the playoffs, but I do think they're good enough for the top 10. So my number 9 is Plymouth.
Mitch, your number 9 position.
My number 9, I think Daniel's already mentioned them a bit lower though. They finished 11th last season. I've gone for Ipswich Town, another sleeping giant, former Championship team. They've got some decent players. Vincent Selina, I don't know if he was only on loan there or it's a permanent signing, but they've got Vincent Selina if he's still there. They've got quite a few quality players. Some players that could easily be getting into Championship teams as well. They brought in a lot of players last season, and to finish 11th and where they did last season, in my eyes, is underachieving for what Ipswich board should be expecting of the club. Again, another team that shouldn't be in League One, but are for a reason, and a reason was they just was not too good to stay up in the Championship. But I'm having Ipswich Town to finish 9th, slightly higher than last season, but Ipswich 9th.
I've gone for a team in Oxford. I think, a team that keeps trying to push for the playoffs and keeps almost, sometimes getting there, sometimes not. Overall, I think it's going to give me another, season where they need to keep improving. And I think they can do that, but, they've got some key players and some good players as well. But it's the improving the team and feeling like they're going somewhere. I feel like they always kind of push for the playoffs and then kind of fall behind or get to the playoffs and not really do anything when they're there. So I think overall it's going to be a season they're going to miss out on the playoffs, but I think they could easily end up in the playoffs. It's been kind of I put them there to kind of make it a bit. They could end up anywhere near that position. So Oxford's my number 9th. Who are we going for number 8th, mate?
Portsmouth. Portsmouth, ex Premier League team, Championship team, sleeping giants. Yes, I honestly just think it's not going to be their season. I honestly think it's not going to be their season this season. But in a couple of years, like you mentioned, in a couple of years, I think Portsmouth are going to be back where they should be in the Championship.
It's your number 8th position.
In 8th, I've got for my first of 3 relegated clubs from the Championship. I know they are every time they're in League One, they're always doing pretty well. They got promoted, obviously, the season before last. Peterborough United, I'm going with. I don't think they'll do as shocking as some relegated clubs do. But then again, I don't think they'll do as good. By all means, they have got quality in that team to escape this league again. They've proved it before when they got promoted to the Championship last time. I just don't think they will this time. Obviously, they're going to have Jack Marriott versus 2 of his former clubs. Obviously, it was on loan at Sheffield Wednesday, and then obviously Derby. So it's going to be interesting to see if he scores past them, would he actually celebrate against them both? Because I know some players don't. If they've got respect for the clubs, but yeah, in my opinion, they've got Johnson Clark Harris, which, to be fair, it is going to be a shock if they can keep hold of him, knowing that they've got relegated and there's Championship clubs as well looking at him. But we'll just have to see what happens with Clark Harris, with Jack Marriott and that lot. But yeah, I've gone for Peterborough United in 8.
I've gone for a team just missed out on the playoffs last year. I think they're going to as well this year. I think I've gone for Plymouth. A team that started the season really well and really surprised by the circumstances. They lost their manager last year and they really kind of fell apart then. Brought it back up near the end of the season, but really didn't have the best last days. MK Dons as well. But I think overall, it's going to be another season where they're going to be up there. But I just can't see them getting to the playoffs just due to lack of squad depth. I think they need that bit more firepower and just doesn't seem to. They can't really defend as well, I think, as they used to. I think that's kind of brought them down a little bit. But I think overall they're still a team that will be up there near the end. They've got some really good players still, but I just think they're going to miss out just on maybe the last 2 or 3 games of the season. So Plymouth's my prediction, number 8th, and we're going into the team who's just missed out on the playoff in 7th.
Shrewsbury, for me. I think they're just going to
shout.
It is. I think they're just going to fall short, but I think they're going to be a dark horse this season. I think they're just going to fall short. But I can just see them having a freak season, and just coming shy of it.
Okay, Mitch, who's your team just to miss out on the playoffs?
Again, same reasons as what you've just given us, Callum. In 7th, they finished 7th last season, just falling short of the playoffs. Obviously, a horrendous last game of season to MK Dons they had, losing that 5-0. Letting Scott try and score 4 goals past them as well. I've gone for Plymouth to finish the bang same position. I reckon they'll fall short again. And there's the exact same reasons what you mentioned as well. Since their manager Ryan Lowe left for Preston End, they've just not been the same team. And I don't think they're going to be the same team than what there was with Ryan Lowe this season either. But I've gone for them to just miss out on that playoff spot in 7th.
I've gone for, a team that I can't wait to take 6 points off this year, and we will do. I'm going to put that out there now. We are going to take 6 points off Peterborough this year. And I want this will be recorded. So when it comes back, I will look like a genius. And all the Peter fans can, they know where to find me. Anyway, Peterborough in 7th for me. I think overall, they've got some good players. I will respect that. They've got Smodics, they've got Clark Harris, they've got some really good attacking firepower going forward. But I think it's the defence that lets them down. Newly relegated team really seemed like it was coming for a while. Relegation. They had some good spells last year, but it didn't really seem to work out for them. I think this year it's keeping hold of the key players for them and progressing. I think this year will be a good, me being respectful to them, they needed another season in League One, I think, just to kind of cement themselves again and go again. I think that'd be really beneficial for them going forward. Yeah, but they are a really good team. They've got a good, like I said, good firepower and some good players. So it's going to be interesting to see where they end up. But I think we're going to stop them getting playoffs this year with the 6 points we take off them. So anyway, into the playoff positions in 6th, who have we gone for?
I've gone for Wickham. Now, being a Derby fan, that might be slightly controversial with them trying to sell us from, last season. But in their own right, they're a good team. They fell short this season. I think they're going to be. I think they're going to be 6th just because of how good that team is. And the transfer window isn't open yet, so they do have, they can improve on that squad. So Wickham for me.
Now, Mitch, who you gone for to get the first playoff position?
Now, as you would have noticed, I have not mentioned one sleeping giant who deserves to be back in the Championship. They've not been themselves recently. I've gone for Portsmouth. I reckon this could be the year that they manage to squeeze into that playoff. Obviously, they've been hitting around 10th, 11th, 12th for the past few seasons now. Mid-table-ish team. A stabilised League One team, as some people would say, because they've been in here for years now. But for me, I'm going to say they'll just squeeze in that playoff spot. I'm going to call it now. It's going to go down to the last game of the season, and it's going to go on goal difference.
That's fair. So I've gone for a team that's newly relegated. So I've gone for Barnsley. A team that, they didn't come down in the best fashion, let's be fair, but a team that I think have got a bit more squad depth, a bit more capability of staying up and, keep pushing forward. I think, playoffs will be a good chance for them to keep going. I don't think they're going to go up through the playoffs, but I do believe they're definitely going to get the playoffs. But I do think it's going to be really close in that. But like you mentioned, kind of that playoff area this year, it's going to, I think both ends of the table, I think it's going to be the closest we've seen for a while. I can't see a runaway winner with anything this year or loser. So it's going to be interesting to see. But I just think they've got, a good squad, bit of a better squad depth and an overall togetherness, a bit more. But, going into 5th position, who are we gone for?
I've gone for Barnsley. Same reason as you, really. They went down for the Championship in awful fashion, bit like us, really. But I just think they've got the team and the strength to get in the top 6. Are they going to win it? No, but I think they will be. I think they will be 5th, maybe a little bit higher, but 5th is my prediction.
Now, Mitch, your 5th place.
My 5th place, obviously, they finished 3rd last season. Horrendous in the playoffs this season. I've gone for MK Dons. But the simple fact is, so far, they've still got Scott Twine. If Scott Twine obviously goes, then I don't think they'll finish this position. I think they'll finish massively lower and could even finish in the bottom half of the table. That just proves what one player could have the impact on a team. Obviously, it's not a one-man team. No team's a one-man team. But what one player can have an impact on a team, I've gone for MK Dons to finish in 5th, though. I just don't think they're going to do as good, but I don't think they're going to do as worse to miss out on the playoffs.
I've gone for Wickham, team that got to the final this year, beat MK Dons as well. Wickham are a team, have been have done a real high recently with the size of the club, into the Championship 2 years. They just missed out to a very good Sunderland team this year, and a team that just missed out on going up again for the second time through the playoffs. So I think they're going to get the playoffs again. The lost Akinfenwa, where it's not really that big of a blow, in my opinion. He's getting old and a bit. I know he's a big character around the club and a bit of an icon, but I think overall they're a good team who's got a really good manager in Gareth Ainsworth. It's going to be another good season for them. I think playoffs is a realistic target for them. I think they will definitely achieve that. But into the 4th position now, we're getting on within the top. Who are we gone for?
I've gone for Cambridge.
Jesus, fair enough.
I just think, they're going to be one of them teams that, I just think they're going to have a point to prove, and I don't think they're going to win it, but I think they're one of the teams that are more than capable of finishing in the top 4 in the playoffs. And I think I have seen them once this season in the game. I did say they played really, really well. I like their style of football, so I do think for me it is 4th.
I'll take that every day of the week, and if anything above, and anything like that, I'll happily take. And if we do that, points are on me for that night. But it's Mitch. Who have you gone for in the 4th position, mate?
I've also noticed that there's a lot of I thinks surrounding Cambridge. I think this, I think that. But no, I do reckon it's my second of 3 relegated clubs. I don't know how they managed to do this, but there's mild points clearer than Derby, but ended up finishing below them in the Championship. I've gone for Barnsley. Now, it hates for me to say this because I absolutely despise Barnsley. I can't stand them. Same as Rotherham, Sheffield United, Leeds. I can't stand Barnsley. But I'm doing this without being biased. I'm not going to be biased at all. My honest opinion is they'll finish 4th. They've got some quality players in that team. Well, I wouldn't say quality, but they've got some decent players in that team. There's certainly a yo-yo team between the Championship and League One. But they did have that massive run in the Championship where they got the playoffs, come up short, I believe, to Swansea. And then the following season gets relegated from the Championship. That just shows how mad football is these days. I do reckon that they will reach the playoffs this season. I've got them in my 4th spot.
So for my 4th spot, I've gone for Ipswich. A team that, in my opinion, and this is just purely I think they're a team that really underachieved last year for the squad they had. They really didn't get going until the mid half of the season. And I think they've got a point to prove this year. A few good signings. I think they've got a really good young manager who's obviously been coached by Man United and really kind of gone through the ranks there. And I think overall, they're a team that can accomplish big things this year, but I just don't think they're going to get automatics. But I do believe they're going to get to the playoffs for the first time in a while. It's a bit of a weird one. I kind of thought I'll put them, mid-table of the playoffs because I can't really see them doing either or. So 4th good place, I think, for Ipswich, and I think a team that has definitely want to get out of this league sometime sooner rather than later. So into the third position, a team that's just going to miss out on automatic promotion.
For me, Oxford. I don't really follow Oxford. I just know that they've had a couple of good seasons. I think this is the season they're going to get into the playoffs. As long as they don't lose anyone, I think third would be a fair assumption for Oxford.
Mitch, it seems just to miss out on the automatics.
Right. I do like this team as a whole. They've got a quality manager in Gareth Ainsworth. what he's done for the team is unbelievable. It is honestly unbelievable. No one thought that Wickham, of all teams, would reach the championship for the first time in their history. They did do that. They proved everyone wrong, including myself. I can remember the year they went up to the championship, I had them finishing rock bottom of League One. What a massive difference I was to them. But I've got Wickham finishing third in my prediction, just missing out on automatic promotion. I'd say it, again, like the playoffs would. I reckon this would go down to the final few games of the season.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So in my third position, I've gone for a team that finished third last year in MK Dons. For the simple fact is I really like their play style. They've got a really good young team. And, I think their average age is like 25, 26. It's really quite young in that team, which is really good for their future. They've got Scott Twine. They've got a really good, backline with like Harry Darling in there as well. And they've got the stadium as well. I know they don't feel it hardly at all, but that's not the point. That can be improved. But they've got, the facilities to, push forward. They've got the ambition now as well. I just think they've got the desire and hunger to redo the playoffs next year, and I can definitely see them finishing the exact same spot as they did this year. So MK Dons my third position, but who we got for finishing the first automatic promotion?
I've also noticed, Callum, I've not heard you say the exact same two I've got in my top two.
I think we've got the top. We've got the same top two.
I think we've got the same top two, yeah. But will we have them in the same order?
We're about to find out. So, why don't you start? Who's your first top two position?
Was that me? Sorry.
Yeah.
Second, I've got Bolton. But I just think with Sunderland, I think Sunderland, 4 years in League One? I think it's just going to push, Bolton, big club in their own right, sleeping giant. After watching Sunderland play, I honestly think Bolton are going to. They've been very similar to Derby. I honestly can see them having an amazing season and just being the new Sunderland, just waking up and just absolutely killing this league and just getting automatic in second.
And Mitch, this is the point we're going to find out if we've got the same team. Who have you got in second?
Right. So this is why it took me so long to come up with my predictions and who I would have in each position of this upcoming League One season, is because I was debating who do I have as the champions and who do I have as the runners up. And there was one specific reason splitting me from Derby finishing top. I've got Derby in second for the simple fact is if they can get everything sorted with the club. They've currently in administration. They've currently got a lot of players leaving. Tom Lawrence, their captain, he's going to be leaving. Obviously, Tom Lawrence has been linked with Nottingham Forest. Don't know how that's going to work out with the fans, but yeah, Sky Sports has said, I was reading on Sky Sports other day, is linked with Nottingham Forest. Whether that's going to actually happen, I don't think it will. But for me, Derby, despite having the problems, Ray Mooney has done a wonderful job. He's done a master class of a job at Derby to overcome that point deduction in the championship, just coming up short in the relegation battle as well. I reckon League One, not going to be too easy for Rooney as a manager, because obviously I believe it's his second full season as a manager of Derby. But I reckon he's going to push Derby over the line and secure promotion back to the championship where they belong.
I've gone for the exact same team. So we have gone for the exact same top two. I think we've actually got a prediction right. I've gone for Derby for the simple fact he's Wayne Rooney. I think, what he's done for that club from where they could have been if they got, it's mediocre managers in a team that is so passionate on that touchline. It's unbelievable. Who has no connections to Derby before this as well. I think, in my opinion, he should have got manager of the year last year. Personal opinion in the championship, just for the fact that he almost kept them up after everything that happened last year. My heart goes out to Derby fans. I can't imagine ever going through this. Almost losing your club, almost losing literally everything you love in football. And then you come down into League One. You're not that happy, but I think, you've got the man that is such a confident person in his own ability and the squad he's got and the youth as well. It could be a really blessing in disguise for Derby having a season in League One, building your youth team back up, which I think has got a really good youth academy anyway. Getting the finances sorted and then going again in the championship next year, I believe that they will go up straight away. There's no worries. There isn't a kind of, as soon as you see Derby coming in, you think, well, they're going to be a team that automatically pretty much goes straight back up. We could all be wrong and they could finish near the bottom, but I just can't see that happening this year for Derby. I've got, it's the one team I'm really confident about going up again this year is Derby County. And so now who have you got in the first? I think we've all got the same top one.
Yeah, no one's mentioned this team.
Yeah, they've all got the same.
I do like the optimism on Derby there. I really do. Wayne Rooney, second whole full season, like Mitch said, in the championship as an actual manager as well. I just think, and hopefully none of you guys ever go through what we've been through. It's been a tough 9 months since September. It's been very tough. There's been a lot of fans, especially in the championship, wishing Derby went under, Derby went bust. I'm not going to mention any other the teams' names, but in them same teams as well, a lot of fans have wanted us to survive. A lot of not even Forest fans. I hope you survive just because it's a rivalry. If like you said, Callum, as well, youth academy. Without sounding biased, we do have one of the best youth academies in England outside of the Premier League. We've brought some phenomenal players in. I do like both of your optimism of being second. I just think, as confident as Rooney is, as next season progresses, is he going to stay with us? That's my fear. Is he going to stay at Derby in the Championship in League One when other teams, bigger teams are sort of your Burnleys and things like that, if they approach him, would he go? I know he turned down Everton this year, but he had a fight on his hands trying to keep Derby up. 43 games it took to get relegated. But no. And my automatic number one, I've gone for Sheffield Wednesday. Just because, myself personally, I was born in Chesterfield, so in between Derby and Sheffield. And they've always been a good side. Always when I see the fiction, it's Derby versus Sheffield. Sheffield went and like, why do we have to have these at this time of season? They're one of them teams that they could destroy anybody in the Championship and League One.
And Cambridge.
We had to get that in again, didn't we?
I honestly think, this season they're going to be back where they belong in the Championship. I think they've had the experience of League One again. I just think they're going to be too good, and they've got the money to buy decent players as well. Like Mick said, we've got a lot of players leaving us. Potentially, I've heard rumours Forest after Lawrence. I've also heard rumours that there's a few League One clubs after our players as well. So, Mitch, stay away from my players.
Oh.
Top one.
Right. For me, number one, obviously, I'm not being biased. I'm just going with it. The simple fact is, obviously, last season on paper, and it was said this as well, reading it, we had on paper the best team in League One last season. Didn't use that all well, finishing fourth in the league. But for me, Sheffield Wednesday, my team Sheffield Wednesday, to win the league next season. We've got the likes of Che Dunkley, Cedar Berrino, and Sam Hutchinson all being released. as well. We've got Peacock Farrell going back to Burnley, Gibson going back to Everton, Tyrese John Jules as well going back to his parent club, along with quite a few loanees that we had. Harley Dean going back to Birmingham. Well, no, he's not because he's been released. We've also got Jordan Stover, who I think played a big key factor in the second half of the season in us getting that playoff spot. He was a crucial part of that defence. And if Darren Moore has the chance, because now out of the transfer embargo, we can actually spend money and get signings. As last season, to say that we could only sign loan signings and free transfers, we did pretty well for a club. I did not have confidence, even though I said we'd win the league last season, and I got wrong. I believe I said we'd win it on goal difference as well. But despite us only being able to sign free transfers and loan signings, we still finished pretty high in the table to our expectations. We are a massive club, a big club. We shouldn't be in League One, but we're in League One for a reason. And that reason was we couldn't overcome our points deduction, our deficit in Championship of 12 points, which then got halved to 6 points. So we finished bottom of the Championship when we was there. One game that I'm going to look forward to is, and I'm going to hate as well, is Derby County. The team that actually relegated us on the final day of the season from scoring that penalty. If it weren't for Martin Waghorn scoring that penalty and then doing one from the Derby squad to Coventry, we would still be a Championship club right now. Well, we might have got relegated without point deduction this season. We never know. But for me, in my opinion, if we can get replacements in for Peacock Farrell, because we are in the market for a new goalkeeper. If we can get replacement for our key men, we signed new deals to the likes of Nathaniel Mendes-Lang, which is crucial to our team. In my opinion, he has been one of the best players wearing a Wednesday shirt this season. But yeah, in my opinion, I reckon we'll win the league. Not by a long way, but I reckon we will win the league, and I reckon Championship football for us.
Yeah, I think I'll kind of, finish it off by saying, Sheffield are a team that, are a massive club, massive stature, and such a really rich history in that club and stadium as well. And okay, we joke about the 6-0 loss and everything like that, but watching Sheffield play last year, in my opinion, they were the best team we played against. Okay, you could say we drew at home and then lost away, but you look at them games or any kind of game they played last year, the amount of times they just missed out on points last year, which was heartbreaking for them. I remember, Mitch, we watched the playoffs together. That game, in my opinion, Sheffield should have won it. I didn't agree with Sunderland winning that at all, and I didn't think Sunderland deserved to win that game. And that proves a lot, I think, over the game and the course of the season. But you look at the squad depth, the fans, the club, the players you can now bring in. Okay, you lost some key players, but okay, you can't really argue Berry. Was a key player, played some good games and scored some goals, but you can now, sign players, can now bring some better players in. But I think overall, it's just overall going to be a better season for you. I think, okay, there's still some massive teams in this league, but I do believe goal difference is going to be the thing that I think finishes it off this year. So I do believe you guys are going to get the playoffs. So goal difference. Sorry, leading on to the playoffs, who we got to win the playoffs? For me personally, a bit of a weird one, but I've gone for Wickham. I think I predicted them last year to win the playoffs, and they got to the final. I think they're going to win better this year, and they just seem to do so well in that position in the playoffs, and in one game wins and stuff like that. Okay, they didn't beat Sunderland this year, but I think overall it's going to be a better season for them. So who you guys got to win the playoffs this year?
I was torn between two, Wickham and Oxford. Now, Wickham, because really good season this season. The season before, me personally, they were 8th and they got to 3rd on points per game because of COVID. So did they have a right to be in a championship that season? Maybe not. I personally don't think they earned a right to be there that season. They were unlucky against Sunderland. I just think Sunderland were a different class. But I think Oxford this year will. I think it'll be Oxford Wickham final, and Oxford will win 4-3.
And Mitch, to finish it off, your playoff winners.
Out on between two as well. Again, not going to be the first time, and surely not going to be the last time anyone mentions this team. Wickham Wanderers. I've got to play Barnsley in the final. As much as I hate to say, but I do think Barnsley will get to the League One final. I reckon they'll overcome MK Dons for the second season in a row. I think MK Dons will lose in the playoff semi-finals, and for the first time in a very long time, I reckon Portsmouth would get to the playoffs and lose in the first round of the playoffs semis. I reckon it's going to come down to a wire between Wickham and Barnsley, but I know Wickham got a lot of quality in their team, and same with goals for Barnsley. I'm not gonna be biased here. I do like Wickham as a team, but I reckon Barnsley edges it for me, and I reckon Barnsley, Derby, and Sheffield Wednesday are going up to the Championship. Unfortunately for Wickham, 2 heartbreaks at Wembley twice in a row, 2 seasons in a row. I couldn't want it to any other team. I know I've had that feeling with Wednesday, obviously not 2 seasons in a row, but in the playoffs, in the Championship, losing to Hull, and then the following season after, losing the playoff semi-final to Huddersfield. But as I've just mentioned, I do reckon Barnsley will win that playoff final against Wickham. So my 3 teams, obviously, Sheffield Wednesday, champions, runners-up are Derby County, and then playoff champions of Barnsley.
Sounds good to me. We'll review these at the end of the season, see where we got right and what we didn't, and just see where, if we got any right at the end of the season. I hope one of us 3 got some right tonight. But thank you guys so much for joining us, Stephen. Hopefully during the season we'll keep in touch and see where we are going on these, and it kind of leads me on to the next thing about the channel kind of going forward. So going forward, we're going to be doing weekly, me and Mitchell as the co-host, we're going to be doing weekly predictions of all 4 leagues. Now it's not just going to be League One. So, and then we'll have sometimes watch-alongs in certain games and kind of make it more of a environment for your weekly and entertainment of your football, and maybe some other sports later on the line, see where things go. But that's what the channel's going forward. Guys, if you like to, please leave a like, and hope you enjoyed it. And let me know in your comments what you also enjoyed this season of League One, and also your predictions for League One as well, and any kind of questions you've got for us as well. But thank you so much for joining me this evening, guys, and we shall see you all next time.
Thank you, and good luck this season, guys.
Yeah, you too.
Cheers, guys.